Hello, hello, we meet again. Hasn't been that long. I agree. But something kind of transpired, both in the previous video, but also not in video. But of course, I put it in video, right? Because I just had a lovely lunch, but that's not what I'm referring to. Um, I think I'll try and keep this one short because the other one was long, and it's good to have the variety. There's been a couple of them that unintentionally, because of something being wonky, have been. But um, and I'm just looking for something. Uh, so that now it's not the end of the world. We have other things that. Here we go. Okay. So, but again, we all got to be aiming to be good towards each other and all that stuff. So, I just thought I'd do a quick one because with some recent examples. The previous video was a perfect example of no matter what format, communication, language, and all that can be very powerful. However, and we all have our own ways, it's true, for whatever reasons, which is another very interesting topic, I think. However, and I feel like, I know I've been watching like some different types of vocal coaches, and I think that I've seen I came across and then there's all these Grammarly things I keep saying. No offense to Grammarly, but anywho, if we're talking about the example where it's kind of like and we did a little bit, so I'm not going to talk about it much. But where in the previous video, a little something. I hope the live chat does display. If not, I didn't tell it not to, or at least I didn't mean to. And I appreciate your comments, but and I gained a new friend and subscriber, maybe more than one that made it known, one that I already did know, and one maybe, for lack of a different way of putting it, on the fence about subscribing. And let's just say that. So, but just when no matter who we feel somebody else is, or we feel ourselves are, no matter how we feel they're coming across. And for instance, if it's somebody who has or says that they have an ability to channel spirit, a lot of people will think, okay, so you're psychic, and what and you're a creator, so you've already pre-planned it all, and sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes a little bit of both, and like, and they could be like, you know what you're gonna say, and then what's but I really do appreciate the kind of free flowing of it. The editing feature is a bit tricky anyway, I find, and I really do yeah. Anywho, so I am not psychic, okay? So nobody's here yet, and I've just been rolling for a few moments, but for those that see after as well, I can't read your mind. People might be really confused when they see my content, some of the things I talk about, and they might think, oh, well, like he's why does he keep trying to get us to say stuff when he could already guess what we're saying, because he's psychic, isn't he? No, unfortunately, I'm not. I wish I was. I mean, whether it was good or bad things, it would. I mean, and I have intuition and this and that. It'd be good to kind of know what's up in life sometimes, and that kind of thing. But I don't. Good boy, Sonny. Good little boy. Hey, got a feather on you, black feather, just randomly on our dog. Little, which some people will say spirituality or symbolic wise means something. I know that looks a little weird, but we had a bottle anyway. No, yeah, no, yep. Woo! So what transpired this though, okay, is what transpired this was a call that I got, and it was really odd, interesting, kind of like that black feather. I don't know, I can't identify it, but it was just on our dog who has not been recently outside, and I hadn't noticed it on him before. I'm also remembering something about a rabbit's foot. Anywho, um, a doctor, a specialist had called us because a while ago I was going through some health problems, and I mean I'm still not 100%, but again, what is, but very few things, but basically, um, just a moment, please. You're mostly being good, but you're kind of being distracting. And I don't mind showing our dog on screen, but he might actually help the views. But I also am trying to have a bit of privacy. I don't know. Mixed feelings about it. But anyway, the point of the matter is that she called. They left a message the other day. A voicemail was full, but somehow half a message left. She didn't sound like the most happiest person, and it's only about noon. I guess she was going for lunch too. Anywho, for some reason she called again, and I answered it. And basically, they're booking into September already, and she says, would I like an appointment? Blah blah. I mean, I'm not booked in September with anything, time or date. And she says, I says, how could I make this decision? Like medically, scientifically, I don't know much about this. And she really wasn't that helpful. I mean, sure, we could say she did her best, but she really wasn't that helpful. Like I didn't know if I still needed this appointment. And she says, well, do you want to get back to us, or you can let us know if you decide later that you don't need it. I mean, I understand that she's not the doctor or the specialist, but it's an example of where I feel like if she works in this type of place, she should kind of know some of the things that happen for people in their appointments, because people are going to have questions. It's not far away, so I mean, date-wise, yes. But yeah, she just said, I forget what she said, but she really didn't clarify. She just said, so would you like to I can't remember, but yeah. Anyway, I wish I could, and it was recently. But I kind of came from that thinking, like she wasn't very specific. So how do I know if I'm going to need it? I mean, I don't know. We'll see how busy I am come September and how I'm feeling health-wise, I guess. And maybe that's how I'll know. It's just a consult, she says. So, yeah, it's, I'm having a pretty relaxed day. I know I just did a podcast, but I often kind of think about the importance of communication, and I notice when it goes well, and I notice when this one's been a bit quieter. There's been one person here briefly. When it could be improved. Let's just say that. Is there anything else I want to say on this topic before I wrap up? I think so. I'm going to try and address it quickly, but I think so. And then I know that I might have a little bit of a unique photo shoot, which makes me think of a scene in a movie. I might have, I don't know, man. I you know, I I know some of the things that I want to transpire, but And JP's here. He's like, you're already rolling and you're still going. Like, do you experience this all day, every day? And the answer is no. And I'm okay with that. But, basically, I'm not, I did in the moment, and I'm fine with the fact that it happened. And I hope that I'll hear from that person again and maybe find out why. Because somebody had commented some stuff and then moved it and didn't say why, or didn't stick around long enough to. I mean, I asked pretty quickly, but maybe they just wanted to be part of the conversation. Then they had to go. Maybe it wasn't, you know, I, you know, you know, it's easy to make presumptions based on other people or about other people and how they behave and what they say, but unless we communicate, we don't really know. And so I want to suggest that I want to ask if you find that you sometimes hold back in communication, and don't say anxiety, because I'm not going to say that's not why, but that's just the start of the reason. That's just the start of the answer. For anybody who's ever been on my content or in general, I'm not trying to say everybody must comment. And again, most of it happens live in the chat, but occasionally, you know, otherwise. But I would like to, and maybe I've kind of said something like this in some of my podcasts. I probably have. What's holding you back? What's holding you back from expression? What's holding you back in your life? There is no need to be embarrassed. We all have struggles, and most all of us will experience times like that. And we just need to hear certain things sometimes to help us through those feelings. And then sometime we'll hear something and it'll resonate. I wish I had some recent examples. Of course, I didn't do my thing, my content creator tip. I didn't do it, so I have a few things to move out of that window. But I mean, there was some progress made last night in some areas. But I mean, the truth be told, I am tired. I don't mind, it's out of my voice, but I mean, I want to take a break. I want to look at other people's content. I want to. So unfortunate that our viewers that were watching didn't really have any, either of them. Maybe they will soon. The one, there was only a few. Um, you know, I'm. I don't think I don't know if I'd be able to find it, and I don't think I'm going to go to it at this point in time. And I'm not necessarily because I hate the person or whatever. Um, but anywho, we get two people in. I was somewhat considering wrapping up, but I might not. What are your thoughts around communication? And what makes it enjoyable? What makes it hard? What makes it easier? I've said a little bit of mine. Later today, I plan to do something that I almost feel like I've never done before, but I have. Rather have my phone to do it with, but I still don't know where it is. I talked about that a little bit in the other video. Or maybe I'll do the other thing. I honestly probably could do both of them today, but I don't know. That's another topic, although the viewer left. And it would really only be for certain people, I feel like. People who don't have other things kind of people who's people who know the struggle, perhaps is what I'm trying to say. I mean, maybe not only. Um, but how do you, if it's something you struggle with or know someone who struggles with it, how, I'm sorry, I've just had all these interesting questions coming to mind lately. How do you decide how to KGU? That name almost sounds familiar too. And almost the image. Welcome. How are you? First time on my videos? Out of curiosity? And where are you watching from? I'm in Canada. It is. It is. And how do you navigate your, this is not really quite on that topic, but something I'm going to ask anyway. How do you navigate your your days? How do you make decisions? Because that's also challenging sometimes. And I'm not sure if I've mastered it or not. I know as far as making decisions, it kind of depends what's the decision. Um, if we get a second viewer. Out of curiosity, what does KGU stand for? Um, I've asked a few questions, so I want to give you opportunity to answer them. I did a long podcast earlier too, so you took your comment away. How come? I mean, there was one person, a couple, well, one that's been quite often in the live chat of my videos, another one for the first time that was quite chatty a little earlier today, and then that happened with someone else today too. And I mean, like I say, you say communication is the key to success, so I hope you can communicate why you did that. You know, I suppose even those of us who feel that communication is the key to success or things like that may possibly struggle with it sometimes. You know, anxiety disorder is real. Not the fear of being misunderstood is real. The fear of being judged is real. If I don't understand something, I'll ask. I try not to judge, and I think I often succeed at it. And no need to be anxious. We have a second viewer just tuned in. I was just kind of pausing for a moment because we have a viewer here who may be trying to focus on a comment, but I also like to try and keep the flow going. I set this one up very fast, so I do apologize if your comments don't show up afterwards. I may not have selected them to. And often that particular menu screen, it bounces down. So I usually, sometimes I purposely don't, for whatever reason, like the really, really deep topic in the one the other day, it's a shared channel with the other person in the house. And I thought, depending, the kind of comments it might get. But I like to sometimes play word games, I guess you could say. There's a part of me that wants to kind of make some guesses as to what KGU stands for. And the second person that just tuned in might get the pattern, but at first we'll probably wonder what's going on here. Maybe we could even play a little bit of a game altogether and think of different things that KGU could stand for. Like King Giraffes of Uganda. I don't know. Um, Keeping good something. It's a hard one. I'm finding it actually. It's kind of a hard one. But yes, I posed a few questions, and I'm curious. And it was more so the first person who was here who heard them. So, and I would say, don't be too, don't like I just can't focus on writing my comment while he's talking. I just say do your best because I mean, like I say, I want to keep the flow happening with this, and I mean, I'll say something if I think it, and especially if I think it, and I think it could be worth saying. So I also could suggest and welcome viewers to maybe give examples as to when communication worked really well for them in a certain thing. And I know there could be so many, it's true. And maybe when it didn't. But good communication can strengthen connection and make life less stressful because we won't feel so confused. We won't, we will feel more like we're understanding each other. Got three of you here right now. I do apologize. I am feeling a bit slow because I did a big podcast earlier today. In fact, I did two, but one of them was smaller. Um, yeah, the other one. But I don't have a whole lot going on right now. And I YouTube because I like to have enjoyable and interesting conversations. And it gives purpose. And for a while, in my 30s, which I'm in now, it's not that I never feel those things, but I don't feel them as much as I would like to. Here's another curious question. One of these will jump out and be like, oh yeah, I got an answer for that one. Although it wasn't. What is something you'd like to feel and experience more in life? And the viewer laughed. Like, not this. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's been really something for me. It's not that I'm not fairly deep and philosophical type of person, but it's been really something to me to um, be coming up with some very interesting questions, you know, uh, for this channel and in life, and I'm doing my best to answer them. She's still showing us online. And I mostly feel that y'all here are doing that as well. I sense that Colton, does want to come back and visit and knows that I would be happy to have him do so. But I don't know about right now. Organizing online in general. One or two. I don't know. See about it. We have somebody here. I am just like I say, going a bit slower with this one because it's not the first podcast I've done today. and the other ones were quite active and deep in their special ways. And yeah, so, but I'm happy you're here. Okay, now that I've okay, who is Colton? Yeah. By the way, did I comment? I know I felt this about somebody else earlier. Did I comment on something of yours recently? Because I don't know why Kate. It doesn't. It doesn't seem familiar. Um, well, it's very interesting that you asked that. Um, if you don't mind, I do feel like there is a question that maybe should come before that. What are your feelings? And we have two people here about the afterlife. I will answer your question. I will. But I'm just curious, and we have four of you here. I'm not gonna know which one of these. And you slightly reversed the letters, but it's all good. But you did spell it with the Y. You, Billy Goal, Edit X. Those ones with the edit in them are kind of interesting names. I think you mean Yo. Curious about that latter part of your name. Um, it's very interesting. You must have seen some of my other videos, even if you didn't watch them, because you are talking about basketball. Okay. And you retracted your other message for some reason. Again, I'm wondering why. LeBron or Michael Jordan, I'm guessing you're thinking. Um, LeBron GOAT. I don't know what the GOAT part of that means. I have a confession. Okay. I don't hate sports. I used to like to play basketball when I was young. I was never on a team. I don't have cable. I find sports very loud and fast. Not that I'm not that way sometimes. And I actually don't really. I don't really. I know those names, not necessarily the ones that Belly Goal said, but I don't have an opinion one way or another, to be honest. Okay. Uh, we've got a couple of basketball fans. Do you know each other out of curiosity? Not that, people, all sports fans have to know each other. Um, um, yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, sports is not necessarily a topic I'm going to be talking about much on here, but I do cover a lot of other stuff. I asked about the afterlife. I'm curious your thoughts. Canada, how about you? And how old? Big day today. We have a graduation. We got three people here, two commenting. Imagine being the top scorer of Nations League at 40. Okay. So some of the questions are getting missed, some of them aren't. So, um, I go on about being a free spirit and accepting and such. So I want y'all to know that like the sports talk that's going on in the comments, I mean, I don't mind it necessarily, but I am not really following it very well. Um, and this is my channel. No judgment to anything you're saying, but I'm just well, I thought that I was giving a pretty good impression. I can do impressions. I mean, I don't, if there's anybody you'd like to for me to, I want to start doing more with voice work. So if there's anybody you'd like me to do impression of, I can't say that I do these often or that I'd be good at it. But one of you is from the UK. It's very interesting you say Balin though, because that's a name that came to mind earlier today. Yeah, mostly a bro. So what? We all talk. We all talk. This is about communication after all. Everyone writes. I have the right to, you know, and fun, love, and kindness. We have 4 people here. Well, I'm assuming when you clicked in, you saw the title. So it's about that. And that's where, you know, all of my videos usually start somewhere relating to the title. And they do. They kind of form a tapestry of a lot of topics. I'm in my 30s. I don't think you're trying to be mean when you say how old is this MF, but are you guys okay? Um, why? Why? I mean, I'll say something about myself, okay? I'm very laid back, I'm very diverse, and I get along with most people. So, you know, um, I understand that we can't please everybody, and maybe I'm not for everybody, but, you know, it's also possibly um, doing a, for lack of a better way to put it, I feel like maybe you are meant to be here. And so, you know, let's find out why, because I'm not sure if we have yet. We got somebody watching at the top. At the moment, just the one, or 2. I'm not sure if it's either of the commenters. Um, YouTube chat's been especially active today, and it's been interesting. Um, I'm just trying to kind of feel a bit more organized. Um, so we have one person here. I also do music, and I also drop things sometimes, you know. I also fumble the balls and other things in life. Um, Scoot a name? So that was interesting to me because even if I don't always feel like I'm all that socially active in my life, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I feel like I'm the type of person that most people can get along with. I try to be, or sometimes I don't try. Just I feel like I am, um, and uh, and I get along with most people. And I don't want to say that in the comments um, that I have not gotten along, and then some are getting deleted with people, but obviously we ain't gelling. We ain't gelling, and or maybe we are. I don't know. There's 2 of you here now, and I'm not sure if it's either of the 2 from here. Uh, there's 3. Uh, Primar, it was a Valendia decider, I guess. It's interesting, actually, the sport theme that's kind of come up in interesting ways in the comments in this video and in one of the other ones. It is, yeah. So I'm curious if the person that's watching has commented already or hasn't. And, looks like there's some kind of things going on in the comments that may be a bit confusing, but I still welcome you to put them. Um, and yeah, um, I'm not too sure what else to put in this video. I'm just kind of pacing myself with it. Um, and yeah, which is something interesting connected to Colton, actually, because I'd seen him pacing. I can't remember. I feel like it was down here. I guess in waiting to be in the podcast that was really done earlier. I can't remember the exact particulars as to why it came across that way, but I welcome you to say something related also to the topic at the top. It's one of those things that communication and language. It's both easy but also complicated at the same time. And I think we should try and keep it easy, but then it is it's a complex thing. That other person will realize that the video that I'm commenting on was the longer one, so I want them to be able to tell it apart, although they might be able to tell by the title if they look. Like the two that came in here, I'm not sure if they looked or not. I mean, I can say that maybe they just thought, oh, I want to look at the live section, or it showed up in the news feed, and they're like, I kind of want to have a chit chat with someone, and I want to talk about sports today, and here's to someone, and I tried, Um, um, but yeah, it's fun it's neat to catch somebody live streaming, whether you're looking for it or not. And I've had it happen a few times recently. I was talking to a lady the other day who lived in a RV, and she had said that she'd played guitar and I think was a singer for many, many years. Um, didn't find out what bands or anything, uh, but and I could tell that we had some things in common. And we're all more alike than we are different, Um, but yeah, it's interesting to kind of think about, like, and we do it for different reasons. When we intentionally do it, like sometimes we're doing it because we just want somebody to talk to, or to get out of our own heads, or whatever it is, right? I understand. You're like, yeah, you're not it, and you're making my mind messy. Just kidding. That was such a weird question. How old is this? I don't think I seem old, but I don't seem young either, probably. And that's accurate. But so what? You know? But I suppose to somebody that's, quite a bit younger than me, I probably do seem old. I'm mostly not ashamed of my age and where I'm at in my life at this age. And it's ironic that the duration marker just recently kind of passed that number. And one of our other recent viewers was the same age as me. But, I mostly feel in most things that age is just a number. We're all people. And I'm not going to say that age dictates how smart someone is. Um, you know, or anything like that. It sure is interesting being in the YouTube world as we get one and then two people again, or two people. Welcome, welcome. It's interesting, being a content creator. Um, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm having a few thoughts that I'm not too sure exactly how to express, and maybe that's kind of a good kind of topic to kind of bring this back around to. And I mean, if the conversation is going well, I mean, sure. I mean, once it's done rolling, you're still welcome to comment, and that's also great. So I'm just going to kind of do what feels natural, but I feel it's worthwhile to make this point. And there's someone briefly over the left, and they're like, "This doesn't feel natural at all." But either came back, or somebody else is here. Welcome. So I want us all to remember that as humans, we're not perfect, even if we think we are. And so there will always be times when when we don't necessarily communicate very well, and sometimes we won't realize it in the moment. But allow yourself to let yourself look good, and and fix a situation where maybe that was the case. I'm a fairly social person, um, and I love hearing from various people, and communicating with them. And I guess lately, it's not that I haven't been doing it, but I guess lately there's been a fairly strong need to do it more, and that's another reason why I do these. Now you can't know what's in someone else's heart. The song comes up again. It did recently. What's easy for you might for them be very hard. Even though to you it seems I've been going to start. I know I've come so far. Anyway, um, that wasn't originally my song, but she's told me in the past I could perform it. So head at the arm of the chair there. Welcome. Been rolling for a while. We got one person currently here, and I'm just seeing where seeing what conversation may come next in this. He left, so that's fine. If anybody comes back to say, how did the rest of this go? Oh no, people kept coming and leaving, coming and leaving. Yeah, well, the one just before this, some people were staying but not staying much for like 30 minutes to an hour, I would say, pretty close to it. Some were staying, some were uncertain. And here's another interesting question for us to have a communication conversation about, but you left. So, an interesting question that came to mind for us to communicate and converse about, and hopefully easily. But if we need to ask questions to clarify things, we can. I did put it in the chat, so part of me wants to just say, look there. But part of me kind of just wants to say it, and you left. And I don't know if those are showing, to be quite honest. Somebody's here at the top. Welcome. So I'm not sure. The chat's kind of doing some interesting things, and I'm not sure how it's appearing to our current viewer. But what is something that you feel you need or are trying to achieve in your day? I would like to help. The chat's doing some interesting things, but it is pretty much receiving. I know I said I would be back in a few minutes, but I haven't went anywhere yet. That one looks like it did it, but nobody's here. Other than the commenters. I don't know. I think some good stuff was said in this. I don't really know if I personally have anything else coming to mind. So unless the person that just tuned in at the moment, it is just you, has anything to say on the title or the curious question at the bottom there. Chat's being a little bit wonky, you could say, but it's mostly working. You left? Okay. Oh, but either came back or somebody else is here. It's just, I don't know. I mean, this is a great topic for like any topic, really, because there's always communication, you know, and yeah, what that looks like you say, where yeah, I don't know. It, like I say, it was that call I got, but it was also kind of just a random idea I got. Like I say, some of these are more active and more engaging in better retention than others. So I mean, we can't judge one particular podcast, and we honestly also should make our own opinion based on what we're feeling, but realize also that what we initially feel may not be. I picked up this one. So or may not be accurate. I'm feeling a little bit unsure what I want to do, to be honest. It's kind of I have a few things I can do from around home, but it's kind of an otherwise kind of simple and boring day. And so, since I have nothing else necessarily telling me I must do it now, I don't mind being here and chatting. Um, yeah. In July, I might not be actually posting as much for a couple of weeks, although I might some. I might some for reasons. And I might even meet some of the people that see my content. Who knows? But I guess the title did really speak to, oh, let's create some dialogue. And then the two people just happened to be into basketball, it seemed like. Um, I might make it its own topic. Back in a while.